I'm back. My throat still sounds terrible. This is day 8, or the very start of day 8. Actually, right now it's 4:50 a.m. in the morning. Today is Saturday. I had surgery last Saturday at 9:30 a.m. Still hurts to talk, and my jaw's sore. Um, so it's nearly been a perfect full week since the actual surgery. I did vlogs day 1 and 2. I couldn't do any video logs 3, 4, 5, not because I was in pain like I am now. But purely because I was so tired, completely out of it. I was sleeping for anywhere between 16 and nearly a 24-hour cycle. My throat flares up off and on. So far from me, we'll go through my spreadsheet shortly, but you'll see my pains. Been getting worse day by day. I have to pause this and come back. And perhaps when I come back, I'll talk about this. I'm going to go use a gargle. So, I just had my Xylocaine gargle, which is a very gelatinous honey viscosity, honey thickness, I should say. So what I had just then was something called xylocaine. I believe it's lidocaine or lignocaine, which is like a numbing agent. So just then I was gargling it. It's taken me a few days to actually get used to it because this is almost as thick as honey. So I've been diluting it down, like 5 mils of this xylocaine product, and then putting maybe 10 mils of water, swirling it around, and then injecting it 5 mils at a time, and just gargling for 30 seconds and spitting it out, waiting half a minute or a minute, going again and again and again. I find it really difficult to do it in its purest form, or its thickest form. I can almost choke on it. My throat's particularly bad today, maybe because I myself have also pushed it a bit too hard. I've been trying to keep up with solids and trying to eat pizza today as solid as possible, but occasionally I'd forget to actually chew more and more, or chew more than I'm used to, I should say, and I'd swallow it too early and scrape the back of my throat. And we're going to get real close and personal today. I think I'm going to share some photos. I'm just looking at my throat now. I can see there's like red scratches clawing down the sides of my mucousy looking scar wounds. So I'm going to go through some notes that I've been thinking of today. So first of all, I don't necessarily think my drugs actually have been making me sleepy. In the first few days, I thought it was because there was this common trend that, I'm in pain, take my drugs, I'll pass out. And that happened for, 3 days straight where I was just sleeping non-stop, at any time, waking up at 3 a.m. for an hour, then going back to bed, waking up in the middle of the day for an hour, going back to bed. I'm pretty sure it was actually just because my body's healing process was exhausting me, having to build all this, I don't know, whatever's going on from that actually quite large. I think I may have some previous videos. It's almost like the size of a golf ball that's been cut out, and it's quite deep. So there's a lot of surface area in there that's all a very fleshy wound in there. And I actually caught mild fevers, so I've been on antibiotics, amoxicillin and clavonic acid since day 1. So I don't know if I've been fighting some infections still. But yeah, mild fevers, like literally I'd be in a hot room and I'd be putting a jacket on and going to sleep cold, and then waking up sweaty. But that subsided. I haven't had fevers probably since day 5. It lasted for maybe 48 hours. And as that subsided, I noticed my energy levels have picked up. I probably, since yesterday, had considerable energy back and actually quite opposite to the early days. I'm actually struggling to sleep now. So if I'm lucky, I can get about 5 hours of sleep in a day. Reason being is I wake up in pain because I'm breathing through my mouth and I can't control it, and I'm drooling incessantly. I'm always drooling all over myself, so I'm putting like towels to sleep on to unfortunately help clean up the mess. And because my mouth's open, I must be a mouth breather in my sleep or whatever. It dries out that scab, and whatever I do in my sleep wakes me up with like stabbing pains in my throat because I've moved, I've opened my mouth, I don't know what I've done, and I wake up in agony. And that agony is so bad, I can't go back to sleep. But I need to sort of go through my process of slowly drinking water, putting sprays in my mouth, a gargle, some tablets, what have you, and that whole process to get me back to get that flared peak pain down. To get that talking is hurts at times, different mouth movements. So to get that pain down, by the time the pain's come down, my body's had so much, I don't know if it's adrenaline or whatever's flowing through my body, it's actually pepped me up and I'm ready to go. And maybe because I've slept so much in the prior days, I've got this built up energy and I just get to it. So it's either I'm watching Netflix or I'll play a computer game or I'll work on a project. I've got my 3D printer going back there, printing out some things for the kids. My mind's active and I feel great mentally, and it's just my throat that keeps, being the impediment, but it's a short-term thing. And I'm looking forward to the long-term gains. I hear people have said they've stopped getting sick with colds after having their tonsils removed, or at least as often as they had before. I might catch a cold 4 to 6 times a year, and I don't know, 8 times out of 10 it affects my tonsils. So moving on to my next points. Sorry, this is going to be a long one. Swollen tongue and uvula. So you'll see in my photos, my uvula just became like 6 times as big as it was before surgery. Huge. And my tongue was so swollen. Like, it's swollen now. I need to get on my next level of meds shortly. But it was so swollen that my tongue couldn't fit into my bottom row of teeth. It would just sit on top. Like maybe covering half of my molars on the sides. So it was also painful because I had some post-surgery damage. Like, I don't know if I bit my tongue or something. And I catch ulcers. So I had these ulcers under my tongues and they're scraping against my teeth. I can barely swallow because my mouth's all swollen. What I didn't know was the prednisolone, which was a part of my emergency drug section for days 3 to 7, or prednisol. I keep saying the wrong words. I'm sorry. I'm not a medical person and haven't spent enough time looking into each of these names, but I've got it written here as prednisol. Let's just double check that. Prednisol? Oh no. Prednisone. Pretty sure it's prednisone. I get confused between brand names as well and the actual product. But essentially, prednisone is a steroid that has every single day worked amazingly. The first time I took it on day 3, it has reduced the swelling in my throat and my tongue. And so I rely on that very much so. I absolutely love prednisol, prednisone, whatever it's called. I still managed to keep my intake down on... So I'll zoom out. Keep my intake down on my Tapentadol. I can have as much as 2 every 4 hours, but I was really hesitant in the beginning because Tapentadol has a comment that my specialist gave me, and on the box it talks about, be careful, Tapentadol can, with overdose, can cause fatalities due to heavy breathing. And in those days, 3 to 5, I was really noticing that when I was sleeping a lot, my chest was so heavy and it was actually difficult to breathe. And I was only taking Tapentadol once every 12 hours. And it could have been because my body just simply reacting to surgery, or that bacterial infection or some sort of viral, I don't know, whatever my body was fighting against could have also contributed to those symptoms. But I was scared of taking any more Tapentadol, and even now, because of how I felt before. So I only take it when I need it. Same with all of my drugs. So my pain ratings have, yes, been getting higher. I'd say I'm putting in averages, but I've definitely peaked at what I believe would be 8 and 9 pain ratings. And they've been caused by things I've done, some mistakes I've made. So we ordered a pizza to I'm starving every day. So I'm trying to eat like one, 2, 3 slices, like, and that's getting me through like almost a whole day. Very low intake, and I'm eating these pizzas probably maybe 10 times slower than I normally would, just to try and get it to a state where it's so mushy and soft, chewed it enough, enjoyed it enough, that I then intentionally focus on trying to swallow that it goes down the very center of my throat, not to the left, not to the right, because that's where it's excruciating. If it falls into those chasms that I've got, it is agonizing. And with the chicken supreme we ordered today, it actually has like, didn't realize it's from Australia, Domino's. It has like this ever so slight mild spice. I love spicy food. I can barely taste the spice on my tongue, just slightly there. But when that gets in my throat, incredible. Pain level 1 straight to 9, almost 10, maybe 10. I don't know. Maybe at the end of this whole process, I will say that was the most painful moment. But within this 1 second ramp up, you just feel it. It's like a fire that's starting, and it's incredible. If you've ever had an earache and know what your ear feels like, that burning, insane feeling in your ear. When I get pain there from food or spice getting into my removed tonsil cavity, instantly flames start burning out my ear holes and my throat. Just intense, absolutely intense. That's definitely worse than I've ever felt with tonsillitis. Don't think I've ever felt anything that painful. That's probably it for me. I haven't had a lot of painful things though, unfortunately, to compare to, like maybe dislocated arms, I don't know, hurt wrist, fractured wrist. This was definitely right up there. And a long pain, like lasting 10 minutes, and I'm like spraying in my throat. I'm trying to gargle with water, and as you know, if you have a spicy mouth, when you're eating food, if you drink water, the spice doesn't just go away, and I didn't really feel all that comfortable gargling milk, but I got past it, learnt my lesson, gotta be more careful next time. So going through my notes again, eating issues, yes. So as I said before, everything's really difficult. I've probably found eggs to be the easiest thing for me to eat. Eggs with butter and a little bit of cheese and just keep going at it. Unfortunately, stuff does get stuck in those chasms. I really am intrigued to know what's going to happen after surgery. Like, a week or 2 from now, like, do I have these pockets that can catch food now? I don't know how my mouth is going to work. I'm really intrigued to talk to my ENT, ear, nose, throat specialist after, and just have an inspection, because it's a weird concept for me right now that stuff's getting stuck there. Like, if I don't rinse out and swallow heaps of water, like, egg is filling in my throat, and I'm like, worried, is that going to get infected? I don't. Bizarre, real weird experience going through this. Sleeping issues I sort of touched on before, just mouth drying out, things like sticking together, these wounds, moving my mouth around, opening it up. It feels like knife being jabbed in my throat. It's all bearable for me. I mean, all the medication is insanely helpful, and I'm sure everything I've experienced above or talked about so far today probably wouldn't have been as bad had I consistently taken Tapentadol and had a higher dosage. I've just been apprehensive, and I've also personally suffered from heart palpitations throughout my life when I've been fatigued or stressed. So I'm also like mentally concerned about things that talk about heavy breathing or stress in your body, this, that, and the other. So that's why I'm a bit on the low side and just trying to deal with a little bit of the pain myself. Other things that are really interesting is like I can pick up my 10, maybe 30 kilogram daughter and walk her around, no problem. But if I've tried to pick up something that was too heavy, like it really, having problems in your throat really gives you this heightened level of awareness of blood pressure going to your brain. Because previously, if I was doing intense sport or lifting something heavily, the veins in my neck pop out, and that's like, all it is. Whereas now, if I did that same level of stress, my neck veins were popping out, I would have immense pain in my throat, like so much pressure in my veins, and that it just, it feels like I would potentially bleed, like put so much blood pressure that those veins that are in that area could potentially bleed. And that is one of the risks of this surgery. And they say do not do intense physical activity. And I totally can feel why. Like even me just standing up straight and bending over, if I just leant over like that and blood rushes to my head, it just instantly hits and throbs here for like 2 minutes. So all these things I've sort of just been becoming aware of over this past week. Still sore even after that guggle, but way better than before. Leisure time with family. Yeah, so my energy's back. I've been able to spend time with the kids, walk around, push my daughter on the swing, play computer games, driving simulator, whatever, talk to people. The more I talk, the better it gets. The more I eat, I don't know about the better it gets of that one, but there's like this element of if you don't use your throat during tonsillectomy, at least for me, things start to clam up in there and become really painful. But just slowly using it, keeping it moving, has actually sort of spread out my pain. So rather than not using my throat for 4 hours, not swallowing, I might avoid pain for 4 hours, but when I swallow it, I'm in immense pain all of a sudden. Whereas that continual swallowing, drinking, eating throughout the day, just little bits of nibbles here and there, just seems to take the edge off, and also encourages me to take some drugs. Survival lessons. Yeah, so I found this pretty handy. It's like a medical sore throat spray. It's called a benzidamine hydrochloride, 1.5 milligram per milliliter. I'll just spray that on a few times, whenever needed. If I don't want to go through the whole gargling process with the xylocaine. Xylocaine is definitely way more effective and much stronger, but hey, this is super easy. Done. So yeah, look, my pain ratings, I don't know if it's going to get worse from here. Some people do experience it getting worse from here, even up to day 10, and people talking about their scabs falling off. Yeah, being the worst part, but I mean, I don't really have a scab that's been building up so much as I've been scraping it down a little bit aggressively with the food I'm eating, so I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see what my doctor says afterwards, if I've done the right thing or not. I get mixed opinions online talking about avoid food that's going to aggravate your throat and cut it back, but I was encouraged by my nurses and doctor to just try and keep a normal diet as much as possible. See if I can reload this and freeze paint it. So yes, this is my last video. This is what's taken place these 5 days, day 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, pain has consistently been getting worse. I'm yet to recover, or yet to get past that apex. And I might, in this video, I'll put up some photos, day 1 through to 7, of what my throat's looking like. And you'll see today, there's going to be some red scrape marks from unfortunately being a bit too aggressive with my pizza today, or a bit too brave or stupid or something. It'll be really interesting to see what my throat looks like throughout the whole period. Sorry for anyone that doesn't like it. I'll put a comment in the video title towards the end of this video. I'm going to have graphical images, warning, disgusting, Your breath stinks. My wife constantly says I have a dome around me of smelling like poop. That's just the way it is. You got this rotten, like flesh, not rotten, I guess, but it's nasty, fleshy mucous membrane healing part of your mouth. Try and brush it a little bit in my teeth, but that does nothing because the stench comes from the back. Try and stay away from people and give them space. Um, it's probably all I can say. This has been a very long video, massive recap because I've been away for so long. I'll do a little bit of editing of this to try and cut it down with pauses. Don't think there's much else for me to say. So yeah, I will try, and if I feel great over my final days of recovery, like the last week, I'll see if I can keep putting up some more video updates and any lessons learnt from me personally. I'm still hoping I don't have any bleeding complications or anything like that that could cause any surgery again to prolong this recovery. Onwards and upwards. On to the next day. I'm off to try and go watch some Netflix or play a game or something and then go back to bed whenever I can, whenever my body lets me. See ya.